Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Rafael Nadal is retiring, which makes me wonder when I should retire.
I'm Frank Isola. No. Don't do it now. I need this gig.
Well, not
Where
now.
are you going?
My 16-year-old needs me to have this gig.
It's true.
So I ain't going anywhere.
College tuition.
Yeah. How about high school tuition?
Cars. Gonna need that.
There's no cars. There's no
Gonna
cars.
walk? The bus?
Scooter.
Like you used to do?
Scooter.
In Chicago?
The L, baby.
Scooters are dangerous.
Scooters are
Forget
dangerous.
the
They
scooter.
are.
He's better off in a car.
Welcome to PTI, peeps. Old man Tony's out shaking his fist at the neighborhood kids. So I'm joined happily by our great friend, fill-in Frank Isola.
They're not happy on day two. They like
Sort of
it
a
more yesterday.
midweek victory, you know.
They're tired.
Let's start with the Mets eliminating the Phillies and moving forward to the NLCS. Francisco Lindor hit a grand slam in the sixth inning. Could he be MVP? To put the Mets up for good, leading once-embattled team owner Steve Cohen to say, quote, he just comes through again and again and again, close quote. By contrast, Phillies hitters didn't hit, and its relievers provided little relief. Frank, what does this result say about each of these teams?
Yeah, that's a bitter pill for the Phillies. You mentioned what they did. 186, 6 for 31 runners in scoring position in their bullpen. They inherited 15 runners. 11 of them scored, including the 3 when Lindor hit that grand slam. But for the Mets, there's that used to be a saying, the magic is back. It's back in Queens. And Lindor, what he did last night, let's remember, you go back less than 2 weeks ago against the Braves, the home run that he had on the final day of the season to put the Mets in the playoffs. Pete Alonso, the home run that he had against Milwaukee. And then that one last night, the Mets clinching at Citi Field. They hadn't ever clinched a playoff series there before. And Lindor, remember this about him. This was a guy whose back was bothering him. And they didn't know if he was going to be available in the postseason. And I've heard a couple of people, and I know it's a difference. It's, he's not Derek Jeter, but he's doing what Derek Jeter would do. Timely hitting, running the bases, making plays in the field. And how about his attitude? How likable of a player is he?
He may be the best two-way player in baseball. Two-way player.
Yeah.
He can affect the game, impact it both ways you can impact the game. All right? I'm not going to say he's better than Shohei. I'm not going to say that. But in terms of who you want on the field, both ways for 9 innings, and particularly the later you get in the season, this isn't Lindor's first rodeo. He did this for Cleveland in 2016 to help get them to the World Series. So we've seen this from Lindor. He's an amazing player. But I'm going to go back to what the question was, the original question. What does this say about both? I don't know that it says anything about either team that we hadn't already concluded.
Yeah.
The Mets were the best team in baseball the last 81 games. And so now we're getting even a larger sample size as you get into the teens in games being played in the postseason. And Frank, here's something else it says about both teams that's kind of sad to me. You can be the best team over 162 games, and it doesn't matter.
I know.
Baseball has done this to itself in order to have more playoffs, more money, more revenue streams created. Everybody's following the lead of another sport. Let's dominate your time as much as we can for as many months, as many weeks as we can. Baseball's done that, and now the best teams don't always advance. In fact, they almost always do not. The hottest team advances, not the best
The only
team.
thing I would say in the case of the National League, the Padres almost won that division. And the Mets, over the last 4 months, they finished 10 games better than the Phillies.
They did. That's what I'm saying. They were
and
the
the
best
Phillies
team.
in the playoffs, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. And in those 5 losses, they've scored 8 runs. What happened to this vaunted offense that we heard so much about? One more thing, though, on the Mets. This is a team, when they're doing well, much like the Knicks, everyone in the city gets into it. Last night, you see Jerry Seinfeld at the game. I spoke to Chris Mullin. He was there with John McEnroe. That's the Met fan base. It's Tony Kornheiser, Jerry Seinfeld from Long Island.
Don't tell Tony.
It's John McEnroe from Queens, Chris Mullin from Brooklyn. That's their and
subtract Tony.
Well,
he's a traitor. He went over to the Washington Nationals.
He's deep down. He's
disgraceful.
Deep down, he's a Met guy.
Disgraceful.
Meanwhile, the Dodgers, they were on the brink of getting bounced heading into last night's game with the Padres, but they got relief from their relievers. 8 Dodgers relievers combined to shut out the Padres 8-0, setting up, of course, winner-take-all Game 5 tomorrow night in L.A. All right, Mike.
Yep.
You hate those bullpen games.
Hate them.
So what do you make of how the Dodgers won this one?
There's nothing more disappointing in postseason baseball than hearing that some team is going to throw a bullpen game at you. Nothing more disappointing
It's
for
the
somebody
sport now.
old like me.
It's the sport now.
And it was brilliantly executed.
Yeah.
All regrettably conceived and brilliantly executed. It's unbelievable. First of all, the preparation, the scouting report, the attention to detail in the scouting report, that you're going to get this limited time out there. Now, maybe you can focus all your concentration and you don't have to do it over, God knows you can't go 8, but
Yep.
somebody might be able to go 5. And so you don't even have to do that. Give me 1 inning. It's Frank, to me,
Yeah.
conceptually, it's a betrayal of everything I grew up understanding and believing about baseball. And let me say again, brilliantly executed that
Yeah.
they could mow that team down in that stadium, which to me is probably the biggest baseball home field advantage in baseball.
Yeah.
In the sport.
So a lot of people that work on this show were trying to claim that you and I were all Padres yesterday, and we had to remind them we didn't like the fact that Dylan Cease was going to go on 3 days
We did
rest.
not.
And he went 1 2/3 innings.
No.
And
Suspect of it.
And how about those relievers? Let's give Dave Roberts a lot of credit, because Dave
credit.
Roberts was one of these. Everyone was saying if they lose this, he's out of a job.
Which is
They win
insane.
100 games every year.
Yeah.
That was only the second team to throw a 9-inning shutout using at least 8 pitchers. And we also said this yesterday. Let's go back and check the tape. Those first couple of innings were going to be huge. By the time the Padres had a runner reach base, it was Xander Bogaerts walked. 5 batters had been retired already, and by the time he reached base, they were already trailing in the game, 3-0.
Yeah.
Then they put up. Then they get out of that inning. The Dodgers put up 2 more runs. It's
game's
5-0.
over.
And what
Game's
else
done.
happened? We said that Ohtani was going to hit, which he did, and Mookie Betts, who's now back-to-back games with home runs. So the Dodgers have some life going back home.
Would have been
which could
3
be an
in a
interesting
row
game.
had he not had one snatched back.
Yeah, that's right.
For Mookie. No, look, the Dodgers, to me, the Dodgers have all the momentum, if there's such thing as momentum anymore. It used to be the next day starting pitching, but starting pitching doesn't exist anymore. Well, actually, it can.
Yeah.
It can in certain circumstances. But I expect the Dodgers to win this series.
Yeah, I do too.
And I don't know that I expected that even after 2 games. Two games in, I thought the Padres had an advantage. Not so anymore.
What are you going to do if you're the Dodgers? So you, Darvish, are going to go for the Padres. He
Yep.
was outstanding in
Yep.
one start already. You go with Jack Flaherty.
Flaherty.
You go with Yamamoto. Or they said they might go for another bullpen game. I'm not believing that.
Oh, wait a minute. How about this, though? How about a combination of those two? The problem is, if you're looking ahead and you can't afford to with a winner-take-all game, do you hold anything in reserve for Game 1 of the National League Championship Series?
No. You don't play that game. You can't think like that. This is about winning
Well, that means you can't.
this game.
Then you could throw those two. You could.
I might do it.
You could.
Bullpen game 1 against the Mets. There you go.
Over in the AL, both the Tigers and Yankees can advance tonight. Yesterday, the Tigers sent 6 pitchers to the mound. Here we go again. In a second straight shutout of the Guardians, who haven't scored in 20 innings. And the Yanks rode the bat of Giancarlo Stanton, who had an RBI double and go-ahead homer in a 3-2 win over the Royals. Tigers and Yankees are now both up 2-1. Frank, which team is more likely to close things out tonight?
Well, explain to me the Cleveland-Detroit series. 3 straight games, and the losers were all shut out in the game. Detroit, though, set up because they have for Game 5 Mr. Skubal standing there, waiting to pitch. And if they win this game, then he pitches Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. As for the Yankees, you were almost right. You said a slugger on the Yankees would get a homer and a double.
I had the
You
wrong
got the
guy.
wrong guy. It was Giancarlo Stanton. How about the fact that he went 3 for 5, and the rest of the team 1 for 25?
How about the home run he hit?
He was
and
a
it
bomb.
wasn't his typical home run, which is those
pitch was
line
down.
drive shots.
Yeah.
This moon shot just kept going
And he stole a
forever.
base.
And he stole a base, which was
But this will be big, I think, for the Yankees tonight. So we keep talking a lot about Aaron Judge. But if you look at Garrett Cole, that's another one of
Garrett
these
Cole.
big-ticket
There we
players
go.
that the Yankees brought in. He's starting tonight. He has pitched 8 postseason games for the Yankees. The Yankees are 5-3 when he pitches. They won Game 1 when he pitched. But he really hasn't had that moment. He needs to go,
dominant
for me,
6 to 8
can you go?
innings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you get 6
Yeah.
innings? Can you get 7 innings? And when you walk off the mound at the end of the inning, the Yankees are in front. Garrett Cole needs a moment like that. I'm not going to count the Royals out yet. I think Bobby Witt Jr. will have a big game. That series, not over yet, but I think Detroit, I think they end it tonight.
this is something I can identify with, starting pitching. Garrett Cole, Michael Wacha.
Yeah.
Guys who have been on big stage. I think Garrett Cole's got a huge advantage here. I do. I mean, this is what he's brought in for. And he's had enough pressure on him in his short time, relatively, as a Yankee, to be able to walk out there to take the mound tonight and know exactly what's expected and how to deliver it.
Yeah.
I realize Walker's been he's been in these moments too. But I think the Yankees have a decided advantage because of Cole.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like the Yankees got away with one last night. They won a game where they had 4 hits, Mike.
Yeah.
You think about how
but how many walks did they have?
I get
8,
it.
9.
It's still just 4 hits that they had.
Okay, but we got that many base runners.
Judge, at least he's making contact. He struck out on a
the check swing is not. That's a ball 4.
And then the short Witt made a good catch on a line drive that he had. So maybe Judge at least he's making contact.
Maybe I'm a day late.
Maybe
9 walks. Come on now. You only need more than 4 hits if you got 9 walks.
You're right.
You got that many base runners. Let's take a break. But coming up, does tonight's game in Seattle feel like a must-win for Nick Bosa and the Niners?
And a few thoughts on the career of Rafael Nadal as he chooses to hang it up. Mike sticking around for at least 10 more years, he said.
I don't know about that.
10 more solid years.
10?
A decade.
I'll be Kornheiser old at that point.
Welcome back to Pardon the Interruption, presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, part of Happy Hour.
It's mail time. You write to me and Tony. You hear back from me and Frank. Let's see what's first. My mother, the teacher, would say, Frank and me,
Frank.
Tony
mail
and
time.
me, not the other way around. Nick Bosa says tonight's game at the Seahawks feels like a must-win to him. Does it feel like that, Frank, to you?
I think it does. A couple of things to remember. San Francisco, 2 of the last 3 weeks, they had a double-digit lead in the second half, and they lost both games. Rams, and then losing to the Cardinals. And I'll tell you what, one thing about that game,
the fourth,
I happened to catch the red zone just in time. 4th and 5, Kyler Murray drops back off his back foot. I think it was 13 or 15-yard pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. But that's on their defense. We talk a lot about, San Francisco and Brock Purdy and all these weapons they have offensively. Their defense didn't make a play. And this is a Seattle team coming off a loss to the Giants, a home loss, and this is going to be their 3rd game in 11 days. For a young team, new coach, that's a lot. I agree with Nick Bosa. They need to win this game.
Here's why it's nonsense. Because San Francisco was 2-3. They're in the same division. Seattle's 3-2. It's a 2-game swing max.
0-3 against the NFC West, though.
But okay, if San Francisco loses the game, they're 2 games behind Seattle with 100 games to play. This is no longer a Jim Brown 12-game NFL season. It goes on forever. Teams get hot. The Niners have been under 500 and got to the NFC title game the last 2 times they were. So seriously, why is it a must game tonight? Why is this season different from any other season?
When you also say, though,
when they rally.
We talk about the Chiefs, can they repeat? When you go to the Super Bowl and you lose, look what they did the year after they went to the Super Bowl and lost. They completely fell apart. It happens. They always talk about the worst game to lose is that Super Bowl game. It tends to impact you the next year. So you're saying that they're having a hangover now? They've lost, they've blown 2 double-digit leads in the second half. The championship teams don't do that.
Win tonight,
Your guy Mike Singletary doing that? I know Lawrence Taylor's not doing it.
Mike Singletary, give me the eyes. Is he?
There you go.
Mike Singletary?
There you go.
Next letter. Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, Mike Singletary. 3 of the 15 greatest, and maybe the best 3.
Put Derek Thomas
maybe
up there?
The best 3. No, I'm putting Dick Butkus up there, though. How will you remember the career of Rafael Nadal?
Well, one of the greatest players ever.
Yep.
Sportsman on the court, classy on and off the court. But for me, I always am going to link him with this guy, Roger Federer. I was a Federer guy, and I think when you looked at the 2 of them, Federer, I'll use a boxing analogy. Federer was a lot like Ali, very graceful. Nadal was Joe Frazier.
Yes, he was.
And his
everything,
body,
including the left hook.
Yep. His body took a pounding, and he overcame a lot of injuries, came back and played. But for me, something stands out. And again, as a Federer guy, 2008, Wimbledon. That's Federer's surface. 5-set, 5th set went to Nadal, 9-7. He won 2 at Wimbledon. Now, Federer did win on clay. That was Nadal's surface. But when he won at Roland Garros, he didn't have to beat Nadal. So that 2008 at Wimbledon, for me, and that was tough to take. It was in the twilight in London. That one stands out.
If you're a Federer guy, that means you were also a Bjorn Borg guy.
Yeah.
See, I knew.
I like McEnroe.
There's consistency. I'm a McEnroe. You know, you cannot be a Federer guy and be a McEnroe guy. You can't do that. But, Frank, I can't separate the career of the three.
Yeah.
So add Joker in. And I'm a Nadal guy. Because I wasn't a Federer guy. Don't get me wrong. My God, you have to look at him and just admire him.
Yeah.
But I was a Nadal guy because of the way he went about it. But let me mention some numbers and why you can't separate them. Because you realize Nadal was 29-31 against Joker.
Yeah.
60 times they played.
It's amazing.
Djokovic with a slight edge. Nadal versus Federer, 24-16 against Federer.
Yeah.
But Federer and Joker was 27-23 against Joker against Federer, 27-23.
Yeah.
See, I can't even keep it straight as I say it and read it. You can't separate them. They played 40, 50, and 60 times in those head-to-head matchups, and you can't separate them.
Yeah.
So they all go in. And you know what? If Tony was sitting here, he'd be stewing because he hates Joker so much. He doesn't want Joker mentioned with Nadal and Federer. But sorry that how can you pull them apart? You can't.
But what separated the Federer and Nadal for me, again, was Nadal winning at Wimbledon on the grass against Federer. That one, that's, to me, that kind of breaks the tie between
What about the times he lost to each one of them? Including he didn't lose to Federer all that much.
No.
But he lost a lot. He lost more than he won to Joker.
More than the other players, he played hurt a lot. He really did. He just didn't let on.
Loved his style.
Great player.
Thanks for your emails. Let's take one last break. But still to come, the Jets demote the coordinator who was brought in to be a caddy for Aaron Rodgers.
And the Lynx and the Liberty tip off their WNBA finals tonight in Brooklyn. The show is becoming New York-centric. It used to be Chicago-centric.
Dreadful arena.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Time to get happy, people. Happy 50th birthday, Dale Earnhardt Jr., a NASCAR legend, having won 2 Daytona 500s and 26 races overall. Dale was also named the circuit's most popular driver. Forget this. 15 straight years between 2003 and 2017 when he retired. He now serves as a broadcaster, team owner, and still occasionally gets behind the wheel in that Xfinity Series. Dale's been one of our favorite PTI guests ever. Always thoughtful and candid, whether winning or the few times he struggled.
Milestone birthday for him, and I think he's going to be happy because he's a big Washington Commanders fan.
Yes, he is.
How can you not be happy with what's happening?
He shows up on the sidelines at Washington games.
Every fan gets really happy when they have a quarterback. Your mood changes a little bit, right?
Happy anniversary, George Brett. Around this day, 47 years ago, in the deciding Game 5 of the ALCS in Kansas City, the Royals legend hit a first-inning triple that scored Hal McRae. Brett slides hard into Yankees third baseman Craig Nettles, and Nettles responds by kicking Brett. Brett then jumps up, punches Nettles, which started a benches-clearing brawl. In true 1970s fashion, nobody was ejected. Billy Martin said the umps told him that the championship game wasn't the time to be throwing folks out. The Yankees would win that game and then go on to beat the Dodgers in the World Series.
Number one, George Brett should have been kicked out of that game. But back then, baseball, the players police themselves. But you go from like the late 70s into the early 80s, the Chris Chambliss home run against the Royals, George Brett,
there
the
were
Pine Tar game,
big games.
Yankee Stadium.
Royals, Yankees.
They were always
Huge
connected
games.
those teams.
Craig Nettles, wasn't he sort of a bad guy?
Yeah, but he could field his position.
He was great.
The year they beat the Dodgers, he made so many great
Wasn't
plays.
George Brett, though.
Brooks Robinson.
Happy
like.
trails to Nathaniel Hackett calling plays for the JETS, the team that took responsibility away from Hackett today, just 2 days after firing head coach Robert Saleh. Now calling plays, quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator Todd Downing. Hackett was originally hired because of his relationship with Rodgers, but interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich says Rodgers supported the decision.
Of course he did.
The Jets' offense has scored just 2 touchdowns over the last 2 games. Downing's debut will come at home Monday night against the Bills.
So when the quarterback makes plays, it's the quarterbacks. When the offense is struggling, it's the offensive coordinator. With a guy like this who's been around forever, I don't think it matters.
I blame everybody.
I don't think it
We're
matters.
running out of show. Let's go to the big finish. Danny Green officially retired now from the NBA. How are you going to remember his career, Frank?
3-time champ with 3 different teams, and I went to high school with his father. We're all from the same town. How about that?
Love it.
Bears owner George McCaskey confirmed that the team pursued Tom Brady when he left the Patriots. You surprised by that?
Brady's talked about it on television, but that would have been a shock to the world move. Seriously. The Saints will start rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler against the Buccaneers Sunday. Does that make sense?
No, not really. Remember when he got replaced by your guy Caleb Williams?
Yes.
At USC. The Pollard family is selling the Twins. Your reaction?
Pretty good return on investment to go from $44 million purchase price to between $1.5 and $2 billion sales price. How about that? Yeah. Last one, Lynx at Liberty game 1 tonight. Who you got?
I think Minnesota's going to win game 1. Liberty are going to win the championship, even though they lost 3-1 in the 4 games this season. A lot of celebrities tonight. Jason Sudeikis, Spike Lee, and our very own Pablo Torre.
New York are picking New York to win. What a stunner.
It's a joke. We're out of time. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Isola.
We call that a homer move. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the app or Apple Podcast. I got to get my voice back tomorrow.
At Oklahoma, I meant to say. Not USC.
And now,
don't send bad emails.
PTI bonus topic.
All right, Frank, which Yankees under more pressure tonight? Aaron Judge or Garrett Cole?
Well, if you look at what happened last night with the Yankees, they won a game where they had 4 hits. And Stan had 3 of them. The rest of the team was 1 for 25. Yes, there's pressure on Judge, but if the Yankees lose tonight, they still have a game 5. Then he's going to feel the pressure. For Garrett Cole, this could be his last start of the season. And I get it. He's been a great pitcher. Last year, he won the Cy Young. He's had 8 career postseason starts with the Yankees. The team is 5-3 in those games, and they won game 1. But for me, he really hasn't had that signature moment. And in the postseason, where so much is about the bullpen and bullpen games, they need 6. Could he go 7 innings tonight against a Royals team that can be scrappy, and it's going to be desperation mode for them tonight. So for me, it's Garrett Cole looking for that signature Yankee moment, which he doesn't have yet.
I'm not going to disagree with the thing you've said there. The Yankees can be good tonight and win a game if Judge goes over.
Yeah.
But if Garrett Cole has the equivalent of over, they're done. So I'm going to give you that. But let me present the opposite look at this. Aaron Judge has been a Yankee for 9 years. If there is an heir apparent to Derek Jeter, it is Judge, right? Judge has been a great regular season player. He has not been the postseason player, of course, that Jeter was. Nobody's been that. But Garrett Cole, I don't even think of as a Yankee necessarily.
Yeah.
Even though he's been a Yankee for 5 seasons now, 59-28 with the Yankees. He's been pretty damn good. But he's not the heir apparent to Mariano Rivera. He's just not that.
Yeah.
That's Judge. Judge wears that, right?
He's the captain.
He's a captain, and he wears it, and he wears it well, and he wears it responsibly, and he doesn't shirk responsibility. I think, unfortunately, the pressure's on Judge. Again, yesterday, I said home run and double. I'm doubling down.
Home run and double.
Home run and double tonight, and the Yankees get through.
Joel Sherman, who's been covering baseball for a million years at the New York Post, he had a good observation that Aaron Boone has had a bigger postseason moment than Aaron Judge has had.
Well,
of course, that home run against
of course he has.
Against the Red Sox.
Who you got tonight?
I think the Royals are going to win. I think it's going to go back to Yankee Stadium. And the Yankees are going to be under a lot of pressure. That's it. We're done. Back to you.
He may not be able to get back into New York. They won't let him through the tunnel.
I'm right on my predictions.